Hello, good evening and welcome to the Leonardo Aggio Trust. Apologies from Councillor Nijar, who has a work commitment. And I don't think we're going to have Yogesh Dattani either tonight, so his apologies as well. So we've got an officer online, have we?
Yes, I'm here, Alex Buckle from Ealing Music Service.
And myself and Councillor Stafford are here, who've been on this committee for quite a few years. I know that we're not allowed to have as much detail, but when we get to the awards, could we sort of maybe have an idea what gender they are and what school they come from, even if you don't tell us their name? Because we always like to know that it's spread out. Councillor Stafford.
Yes.
Yes, sorry, there were some additional papers that I managed to discover which does have all of that information on
Does
it.
it?
Yes. So I don't know whether you can
Did they come? When did they come?
they were on the if you went through the portal, they were on there rather than what.
Oh, well, I didn't see them either. Neither of us did. So
I only found them this evening on my phone.
Oh, well, maybe you'll be able to tell me. So
yes, so if you haven't got it, I can.
Oh well, thank you. And I don't think anybody's watching, so we won't really be breaking any rules. Just to say, can I sign the minutes of last year as a true and correct record? Read. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, over to the officer.
So I don't know if the document you're talking about is the nominations, but I've submitted quite lengthy.
Is it Alex first or is it Russell?
Is it you, Russell? That's fine.
Is she here? Well, is it Russell first then? Or was it?
Yeah, I think that was just the accounts.
We can't hear anything, afraid.
Oh,
I can hear Russell.
sorry, can you hear me now?
I can.
Oh, okay.
I can hear.
You can hear it on your headphones.
Sorry, can you hear me now or?
Anything down the bottom or at the top?
I can hear Russell, if that helps.
Sorry, can anyone hear me now or?
I can.
Right.
Russell, would you like to speak again?
I'm sorry, if can you hear me now?
No.
We can't hear any.
Okay. I'll try and rejoin the meeting and come back.
I can hear Russell, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
That's strange. Is it just you and me now?
I think so. Yeah, I can't hear anything from the meeting itself.
Oh, I can hear everyone. That's strange. Strange that I can hear you.
Thank you. No, we can hear you now. Thank you. So is it Russell first? Off you go, Russell.
I think it was just the accounts. So we've just given a bit of an update on the accounts, which is summarised in the report. And basically, we've got restricted funds as at 31st of March of about 90,000, and then unrestricted funds available for distribution of 32,479. So obviously, any commitments or any grant awards would go against that sum of 32,479. So we get basically all the accounts information from NatWest, and obviously BlackRock as well, who are the fund managers. And we do a little set of accounts, which obviously we can send on to the members of the trust as well. So I think that's probably about it from myself, really. Not
Thank you
unless
very
there's any questions.
No, thank you very much. Any questions, Councillor Stafford? No, nor me. Well, thank you very much. Don't feel you have to stay. So over to, I don't mean that rudely.
No.
Alexandra.
Excellent. So on the form that was titled Leonardo Aggio Nominations 2024 Confidential, you'll see you asked about the gender of the first year award. So you'll remember we had 7,000 to spend over the 2 years. So for the first year, the total was 3,257, with 2 awards going to ladies or young girls, 2 going to boys. So an equal split in terms of gender. I could briefly discuss each candidate, although I've given a background on each child and also given their teacher's recommendation. But just to say, the first child is a highly talented drummer. He has had support from the London Music Fund scholarship, but for 1 year that stops and there's no fund available. So it's really to cover him over that 1 year. The next is a boy whose mother got in touch with us because he was using his birthday money to pay for our Saturday music school. And so we are helping him carry on and also continue with his second instrument lesson. The third is a girl who was a London Music Fund scholar. Her scholarship has now ended and she's got no way of paying for viola lessons, and is really missing that side of her music making. And then finally, it's a highly talented flautist who got a very high distinction for her grade 7 and is now looking at getting a second-hand piccolo and some funding for her music making, which is broad and wide. And then in the second year, we've got 10 singers, and I'm afraid I don't know all of their genders. I imagine it's a balance. I have provided the names, but I can't tell from the names the gender. But it's 10 students that have been identified through our partner, Tenebrae, and they will be having lessons should the nominations go through and be signed off tonight. Thank you.
I don't want to know their names, but can you tell me what schools vaguely they go to? Some of these.
Well, for the singing, the second year, it is Tudor and Clifton in Southall. And for the other students, I haven't got it off the top of my head. I know one is at Greenford, one is at Drayton Manor, one is at a school outside of Ealing because of mental health reasons, although she lives in Ealing and attends Ealing Music Service provision, and the other is at Ealing Fields.
Thank you very much. Greg, do you want to ask anything?
I mean, I think having read the paper, and I'm sorry, I'm reading off my phone, so apologies, but I don't have any particular problems with either the allocation or the people who've been allocated. They seem worthy recipients, more than worthy recipients. I suppose my question would be on the more general point, which actually Councillor Johnson is slightly touched on in her last question, which is, and it's a question we've asked many a time at this committee, is that it does appear that this award is not advertised as widely, or I suppose what I'm looking for is reassurance that anybody who wishes to apply for this award or knows about it and is able to do so. My reading of it, especially of the second year, is that it's essentially you've gone to some people and said, do you have anybody from a very small cohort of people, the 2 schools that you're talking about, to give awards? And it worries me that I'm sure individually, each of these individuals are very worthy, but there are plenty of other schools in the borough who won't have had the opportunity to apply for these grants.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. Thank you. I have given you some information on how these awards are to help the growth of singing in Ealing, and it is quite a new area for us, growing singing within primary schools and working with our partner Tenterbury Choir. So we very much do see it spanning out. We are almost trying to have a satellite centre of singing in Southall, because so much of our cadenza music making is in South Ealing, and so many of our students in cadenza come from that area. So we are more focusing on Southall for singing at the moment, because we're thinking of starting a singing school there on Saturdays, like our instrumental cadenza, although we do have choirs there as well. It is slightly limited to areas, and parents from Southall would have to drive further to get there. So we are looking at growing provision there. Having said that, very much we do want to open it up. It's just at the moment singing is quite a new provision, working with primaries, and so we focused on those two schools at the moment because that's where we've got our partner in. But we do have partnerships throughout Ealing, and we intend to grow it across Ealing, but it is quite an early project at the moment in that sense. But I absolutely take your point that we need to broadcast this as much as possible so that every child in Ealing can apply for these awards, and that's something that I'd like to see happen, as now that I've been working for Ealing Music Service for 2 years and have a better grasp of the very large borough that it is.
Councillor Stafford?
Yes, I mean, I completely accept the rationale that you've given. What I wouldn't want this award to become, though, is essentially a plug, something that just fills a gap in what the music service is trying to do anyway. It is meant for all children in the borough to be able to apply for. And what would worry me if we came back next year and we just got a whole load of singers from these two schools again. Yep. Again, I'm not being against these schools or against the individual singers. They're all worthy. But what I wouldn't want to see is this just to become a funding stream for this single thing in perpetuity.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to be aware of that, because obviously we are already a partner, so those schools in the area have already got the partnership, and then they may also be seen to be getting extra money from the Leonardo Award. What I would just say is that we do want to help with the progression. We want those children to carry on singing, which at the moment they're at risk of stopping after this 1 year with the partnership. But we are radically changing our website and our online presence. And so I think once we've seen how it goes with these singers, we'll have more confidence of rolling out similar pilots at other schools and across the borough. It might be that we change the focus. This was just 1 year of getting singing included as part of the award, but it might be, as time goes on, that we look to expand the singing provision in other ways, and that one child at Grange Primary and one child at Vickers Green and one child somewhere else can apply to us as we build up our knowledge of singing for this particular age group.
Yes, thank you for that reassurance. No older students, because sometimes I think last year we had somebody of about 20 or 21.
So the first year, they're all at secondary schools. The people who've got the 4 children who've got funding in the first year are all at secondary schools. And then at the moment, those at the for the second year singing award, they're all at primaries. I don't want the award to be like that, but because we've got the Alice Gross Singing Award and other awards, that's the way we've worked it. But I think Councillor Stafford's point is a really important one, that we don't have it as something that's really funding a part of the music service, that we do look to expand singing across the borough and not just at the schools that we're working more closely with.
Thank you very much. Well, I think we're happy to approve this then. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I wondered if I could just say one thing. We chose the schools Tudor and Clifton because they had very little music making there. So there was a reason for the partnership going to Tudor and Clifton and Southall. It was an area that we felt was not having as much exposure to music as maybe more affluent areas and where we're more focused, the Fielding and the Grange primaries. So there was a reason for choosing that in the first place. But I really do take your point about expanding singing across the borough for every child.
Thank you very much then. Thank you. Thank you very much.